Hi, everyone. My name is Matt Hames, and I'm an attendee and a speaker at the Institute of Higher Education. Right here is where it's going to be behind us, and in the beautiful Sailing Museum in Newport, Rhode Island, June 1st to 3rd. We hope you're going to join us. Today, I'm so proud to be joined by one of our speakers today. So why don't you introduce yourself?
Yes. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Teege Mettille. I am thrilled to be coming to Rhode Island, to be coming back to the Institute. I was an attendee at the first Institute.
You're at the very
Um,
first one.
I was at the very first one and was honored to be there and thrilled that you all invited me to come speak. My background, over time, like all of us, right, worked in college admissions, started as a road warrior, all of that, moved on to be a director, then dean and vice president, et cetera. I spent about 3.5 years at an ed tech company Enrollment that does a lot of work on client database systems and CRM data, analyzing the paths that students take to enrollment and identifying the data metrics that are most telling of their interests, which is largely what I'm going to be speaking about when I come to Rhode Island.
Yeah, so it's massive data. Talk about data. You're going to be able
Mhm.
to see the agenda. We'll post the agenda below. It's at institutehe.org. So at any point, you can go take a look at the agenda. It's actually really fancily. It's institutehe.org/agenda, right? So that's pretty easy. You can take a look at the agenda whenever you want to.
Mhm.
So you've written two
I
books, I
have.
think. One about staff morale and one about
Mhm.
leveraging data, which of course that's what you're going
Yeah.
to talk about. Um, so how do those two connect?
Yeah, Matt, that's a great question. The first book I wrote, The Admissions Counselor Malaise, I loved it. It was a fun project to write. And I took the concepts of The Feminine Mystique by Betty Friedan, a book about 1950s
Yep.
housewives and their unhappiness at the time. And I laid that over to the experience of admissions counselors
Yeah.
coming out of the
Sure.
pandemic, right?
Yeah.
And the core connection for 1950s housewives was there was this profound unhappiness, but nobody had a name for it. So they didn't ever talk about it with each other. So Betty Friedan called it the problem that has no name. And I applied that concept to admissions, right? That something
Yeah.
had happened to our job, our profession, but we didn't talk about it and it has no name. So I tried to kind of identify it and put a name to it. It was
It's
a fun project to write. But the feedback I got both from the book and from, I did a couple keynotes about it, was that I kind of said, here's the problem. All right, good luck, everybody. Bye.
yeah,
And just,
right, right. Yeah.
just walked away. So
Yeah.
there's that. The second book was in conjunction. It was co-written with me and the CEO of Enrollment, Jeff Baird. And we had spent 3 years working together at Enrollment. And with every new client, we would essentially unlock their entire CRM data set and bring it in. And every time we did that, as an old admissions director myself, I was fascinated to see, like, how are they doing it? What were they doing better than I ever did? What are they doing worse than I ever did? How could I what would I have done differently if I had seen what they were up to? And it just led to so many deep, long intellectual debates with Jeff about how students pass through, what admissions counselors and offices should be doing and focusing on. And the book, the second one, The Signal Solution, really kind of tracks how colleges can and should be thinking about the data that they have access to in their CRM data warehouse to better connect with students. So to get back to your question, Matt, how do these two
Yeah.
ideas come together? The admissions counselor malaise tracked a drift away from the purpose that brought admissions counselors into the work, which was working with students and helping students, right? But
Yeah.
as
Right.
time has gone by, we've been growing application pools, growing admit pools. Today's admits maybe not don't even have to have ever heard of the college before you just directly admit them, right?
Right.
And
Right.
so it's a different game, and so much of an admissions counselor's work has been kind of devolved into spreadsheet management and blast emails and waiting to see who responds. And what the Signal solution did, we didn't mean for it to happen, but it ended up being like a great follow-up to the admissions counselor malaise. So the admissions counselor malaise identified the problem.
Yeah.
Counselors are not getting to help students the way they want to. The Signal solution turns out to be a good directional point as far as how to get them back to the work that gives them purpose and meaning when they show up every day.
Yeah. So the institute is designed to bring enrollment leaders and emerging enrollment
Mhm.
leaders into a place where we can have deep conversations about the enrollment management and enrollment in general, and
Mhm.
just kind of understand how to push us all forward, right? So
Mhm.
I like what you're saying is the idea is that if you really have the right data and you understand who you're
Yeah.
talking to, you're not really chasing down rabbit holes, you're not going down wrong alleyways, which can
Yeah.
be really super frustrating. You can direct your team into the right place.
Matt, can I give you a perfect example of just
Yeah,
what you said? It's
yeah,
one of my favorites. And I say this to anyone who was in an admissions leadership role prior to 2014, 2015, and they get
yeah,
it immediately. So our emerging leaders might not have experienced this, but those of us that go back, there was a time when the Department of Education, when they would send FAFSA results, the ICERs to the colleges, it would include what position the student listed your college in, whether they listed you
yeah,
first,
right,
second, third, all the way through 10th. And nobody ever told the students to rank order them,
right. Right.
but they just did, right?
They
And
just
so
did,
for
right.
yeah, so for my institution, I knew that if a student listed us first, and this was the numbers at Northland, we would enroll about 2/3 of them. And if they
Yeah.
listed us second, that would fall about in half. We'd get about a third of them, and then another half, and then another half, and then it would
Oh,
trail
wow.
off. Yeah, okay. So that was our experience. When
Yeah.
the Department of Ed took that data away for very good reasons, I don't disapprove of them doing it. Um, we were then left treating all FAFSAs exactly the same, even though
Yeah,
I
right.
know from my lived experience they are not the same, right?
Yeah.
But we didn't have data to replace it. What the signal solution identifies, and this is part of what I'll be speaking of at the Institute, is we actually do have the data. We do have everything from email click to web traffic, time on site, et cetera. There are other metrics that we can use to measure how engaged a student is with our institution, so we can replicate that level of interest and engagement that was being kind of rolled up in FAFSA position. So I spent one semester at an institution that I came in January, and they were down in FAFSAs from
Yeah.
a particular state, a neighboring state. And one of our vendor partners just kept telling us every time we would meet, "You need more FAFSAs from this state. You need more FAFSAs from this state." And we did the thing, right? Like we sent the emails,
Yeah.
we sent the letters, we had the
Right.
conference call. But I knew what we were doing is we were just getting students who've already decided not to send us their FAFSA, and if we badgered them enough, they would put us in FAFSA position 5, 6, 7, 8. And it
Right.
wouldn't be meaningful, but it would move our metric. And that's what I think college, when I look at how admissions works now, I think we're often still chasing the legacy metrics that we all grew up with, and
Yeah, right.
they don't mean what they used to.
Right. So your speech is basically going to be a lot, or your presentation is going to be a lot along the lines of, we've basically been doing it wrong, and we can kind of continue to be doing it wrong. It's something that we think about a lot. Just to put on my 3E hat for a second, it's
Mhm,
something we
mhm.
think about a lot here. How to how to get our partner institutions the student who is essentially
Yeah.
putting our partner institution one on the list. So that's
Mhm.
like that's the name of the game, right? And that
Yeah.
kind of thing can make things so much easier in enrollment management because you're not chasing the wrong things. You're going
Mhm.
you're going in the right directions.
Yeah, that's right. And counselors, and this is where I think if we can get more focused on the right students, it,
Yeah.
it improves enrollment results, right? Because you're not wasting your time getting students to mindlessly send you the FAFSA. So it improves enrollment results. It improves counselor morale, right? They'll be happier if they're meaningfully engaged with students. And admissions counselors, like they will put in the time, they will put in the work, they will stay late if they're helping students. Where they get
Yeah, exactly.
frustrated is if we're just having them call everybody who submitted a FAFSA, even those who got their financial aid package and then never opened another email or came to our website ever again. Those students are telling you something. They're telling you
Yeah.
you're off the list, right?
Yeah,
But
right. Right.
but we have to tune ourselves to the signals that the students are sending.
Yeah, and like I said, one of the really interesting parts that we're trying to do at the institute is create a moment where we can all learn together,
Yeah.
and then there's an opportunity to reflect. And we had this at the first institute that you were at, the
Hmm.
what we call fireside chats. In these fireside chats, the opportunity is to listen to somebody like you speak and present and explain like how to do it, and then come together in the evening around a fire and chat about what you learned. And I think that, honestly, having watched it over the last 5 years, that is one of the more meaningful opportunities for attendees to really, really learn, because we all learn separately and differently, right? Like somebody might listen to your presentation and go, oh, I got to do this. And someone else might listen to the presentation and go, I got to do this. But when you all come together and you talk about it, you have an opportunity to really be focused on the things. And, you know, that is exactly what you're talking about for an admissions office. This is an enrollment institute that tries to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Well,
that was just a plug for the institute, and I just
well, I remember those. Yeah, I remember those fireside chats in the small groups, and I still maintain some deep connections from folks I met for the first time at those the follow up conversations, the processing discussions after the presentations from some amazing speakers that you all brought together for us. Just added so much value above and beyond, you know, being able to hear from these people, these presenters. So I really appreciate it, and I'm so honored that you all are bringing me in.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the most exciting part about the Institute for people who haven't been there yet is getting an opportunity to learn together. And that sounds like a brochure, right? It sounds like, come to this and you'll learn together. And it sounds like a promise that is hard to deliver. Like, honestly, it sounds like a marketing tagline.
Yeah.
But it's truly what happens, and it truly is what happens. So you haven't been there since the first year. That's okay. It's awesome.
That's correct.
What are you looking forward to the most this year?
You know, in all honesty, and this is, you know, an interesting tie-in with you know, I'm a co-host of the Admissions Directors Lunchcast, which is just about to launch. And this season we are doing the Rising Star season. So instead of looking for the most established names, we're looking for like who's up and coming, who's out there. So I am excited to talk to everybody at the Institute, of course. But
perfect.
Having been removed for a couple of years from the direct on-campus work, and now I'm the owner of a Class 101 independent consulting franchise. I'm excited to meet some of the up-and-coming, like, emerging leaders that are coming to the Institute as well, and getting a fresher sense of what's new out there. So,
well, drop your name down in the comments right here. You've heard it here, folks. He's looking for emerging leaders. So there's an opportunity right here to get the front of the line. So tell me a little bit more about this upcoming season of the Admissions Directors Lunchcast.
The Admissions Directors Lunchcast. It is in its 11th season, which is wild to me. And it started. Yeah, the co-host is it's me and Nathan Ament, currently the VP of Enrollment at Knox College in Galesburg, Illinois. And you know, the general format every season, we pick 8 topics, and ideally we find one counselor, school counselor, independent counselor, and then one practitioner, usually a director or dean of admissions, or 1 or 2 degrees removed from that, to give 2 different takes on the same topic. This season, we asked all of the ACAC presidents to identify like who's up and coming, who's rising. We've got some great topics. Obviously, burnout is one of my favorite topics I like to talk about. Leadership without a title, kind of the like, how do you step into a leadership role informally? You know, why do we keep doing this work? What keeps us here? Things like that. So they start dropping. The teaser episode for season 11 is already out. And the first episode comes on Tuesday, and there's 8 episodes coming. So every Tuesday between now and May 1st.
Awesome. That is so exciting. Well, this has been a really great conversation. I'm so thankful for you to join us today and to come on LinkedIn Live and talk about the Institute. It's one of my favorite things to talk about. So I'm just super excited for it to be happening June 1st to 3rd, Newport, Rhode Island. It's in the Sailing Museum, which we're sitting virtually in the Sailing Museum right now. So it's in the Sailing Museum. It's going to be an experience. We have an incredible agenda, incredible speakers, really knowledgeable people. If you're in the emerging leaders track, maybe you'll get on the Lunchcast. Who knows? Just come with your not your CV, but just come with your attitude and see what happens. So I really appreciate your time today, Teague. It's been awesome.
Yeah.
And everybody, we'll put the registration down below, and I'll put a link to the Lunchcast down below as well, so everyone can find it. So
And yeah, and if I could just shout out, I see Mike in the audience. Mike, it's good to see you, and I am looking forward to seeing you in Rhode Island as well. Just days before Taylor Swift rolls into town to get married.
right. Well, yeah. So the following weekend, apparently Taylor Swift is getting married in Rhode Island, so that could be a lot of fun. I mean,
I don't know if anyone from the Institute is going to want to hang out for the wedding, but it did tell me I've got to leave right away because the hotel rates have got to be going through the roof after the Institute. So
right.
Get in, get out. That's my approach.
Get in, get out, and just watch the beginning of Taylor Swift. By the way, we have the author of a book about Taylor Swift's marketing, Kevin Evers, on the agenda as well. So take a look. Institute HE. So Institute Higher Ed, institutehe.org/agenda for the complete agenda. Thank you so much for your time today. Everybody, thanks for joining us. And I can't wait to see you at the Institute in June.
3 months.